ladies and gentlemen. You're watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
Today we celebrate the birthday of a living legend, Yogi Berra, 87 years old, and he's here at the stadium. 10 World Championships with the Yankees, World War II veteran. He has done it all. Happy birthday, Lawrence Peter Yogi Berra. As today, the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the New York Yankees against the Seattle Mariners in the middle game of a 3-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees Baseball, along with David Cohn. I'm Michael Kay. Yankees started this series off with a 6-2 victory. Hiroki Kuroda got the win, and an ex-Mariner really struck the biggest blow.
Well, it was an ex-Mariner, and if you think about Raul Ibanez and the impact he's had on the Yankees so far this year, he's kind of flown under the radar, but not amongst his teammates. And a first-pitch fastball from one of the best pitchers in the game, that is the difference. He launches it, a 2-run home run in the 6th. Alex Rodriguez knows how important it is. So does Felix Hernandez at this point, because he was saddled with a loss because of Ibanez's home run.
Nothing new, David. Game-winning hits this season. It's early, April 10th. Against the Orioles, an RBI double on the 12th. May 8th, 4th inning, 2-run home run against the Rays. And last night, the 3-run shot that David just told you about in the 6th inning. Let's look at today's New York Lottery pitching matchup. Hector Noesi is going to go for Seattle, 2-3, 6.30. And for the Yankees, Phil Hughes, 2-4 with a 6.67. Those numbers say one thing. His performance in Kansas City, though, it says another.
Yeah, you kind of get the sense that Phil Hughes was pitching for his spot in the rotation, and he has answered the bell. His best start of the year, that fastball was 94, 95 all night long. Up in the zone, good location, mixed in a changeup when he needed it. But the key was hitting that glove, the spots. A little swagger in his step, maybe a little confidence. Phil Hughes coming off his best start of the year.
He'd like some offensive support, and boy, if Robinson Cano continues to swing the bat the way he's been swinging it, he might just get that. A big hitting streak, 4 hits yesterday. When we come back, we'll break down what Cano has done. Makes. Last Saturday, Robinson Cano was at 255, a home run and 4 ribbies. Today he's at 308, 3 home runs and 12 runs batted in. And check out the last 5 games, 12 for 20, 2 homers and 8 ribbies. And David, he's turned his season around.
Well, he did, and it really came with one swing of the bat. You talk about doubling your season productions. 1 and 4 goes to 2 and 8 in terms of home runs and RBIs with that grand slam in Kansas City off of Luke Hochevar, and he has just ridden that hot streak since that point. He's really getting the ball in the air more, Michael. He's getting better pitches to hit. He's hitting more line drives. His production in terms of doubles and home runs are starting to go like they did last year. Robinson Cano, a big part of the Yankee lineup in the middle of that order.
He's going to be back and clean up today. Phil Hughes will be on the mound when we come back. Lineups first pitch. Baseball next on Yes. Max, 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. By J&R Music and Computer World. And by the professionals at your Tri-State GMC dealer. Why just go when you can go pro? Well, an absolutely beautiful Saturday afternoon here at Yankee Stadium. Yogi Berra is taking his tour around the stadium in the golf cart driven by Ron Guidry to celebrate his 87th birthday. They gave out those enlarged baseball type cards to all the fans, and now we get a chance to watch a baseball game. The Yankees have taken the field. Phil Hughes is taking his warm-up, so we're taking a look at the starting lineup for the Mariners. Dustin Ackley at second base will lead off. John Jaso, the catcher, bats second. Ichiro Suzuki in right field hits third. Jesus Montero, the DH, cleans up. Batting fifth and playing third base, Kyle Seager. Mike Karp in left field will bat sixth. Batting seventh and playing first base, Justin Smoke. Michael Saunders, the center fielder, is going to bat eighth. And Munenori Kawasaki, the shortstop, will bat ninth.
And here is today's starter, Phil Hughes. We talked about it in the pregame show. To be his 7th start of the year, 2-4 record. The numbers don't look so great there, even though 8 walks and 30 strikeouts in 28 and a third innings are pretty good. But the scouting report, he is building momentum. It was his first quality start of the year in Kansas City and his best velocity, and the pressure's off. Andy Pettit's coming back. Hughes is still in the rotation. Phelps goes to the bullpen and gets some runs.
First pitch is fouled off.
See, the Yankees, when they stake Phil Hughes with a 3-run or more lead, are 28-0 in his career. And Phil Hughes has got 25 of those wins. So get a 3-run lead or more, and Phil Hughes has been unbeatable.
So Dustin Ackley down on the count 0-1. He takes a 7-game hitting streak into this at bat. The lights are on because the shadows will take effect earlier in the game because it's not a 1 o'clock start but a 4 o'clock start. The 0-1. 1-1. Yankees won last night 6-2. Middle game of this set. Pitch inside, 93 miles an hour. The 2-1. Popped up. A-Rod drifts back, moving over is Nix, but A-Rod makes the call on the catch for the first out. Let's take a look at the Yankee defense, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer. In the outfield, it's Ibanez, Granderson, and Swisher left to right. Infield, Rodriguez at third. Jason Nix is in short. Derek Jeter's the DH today. Robinson Cano at second. Mark Teixeira at first. And Russell Martin behind the plate with Phil Hughes on the mound. You can see that unfamiliarity with Nix and Rodriguez because Derek Jeter would take that ball if he was playing shortstop because the one part of Alex's game he's not that comfortable with is fielding pop-ups. Pitch outside to John Jaso, but he handled that one cleanly for the first out. Jason Nix essentially now the backup shortstop and the backup second baseman with Nunez in the minors. And Eric Chavez will back up Alex Rodriguez at third. Laced into left center field. Coming on is Ibanez. He makes the play for the second out. Let's look at the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. In a word, it's beautiful. In numbers, though, 77 degrees, 24% humidity. Wind is 10 miles per hour. And there is a forecast of increasing clouds.
Of course, it's a gorgeous day on Yogi Berra's birthday here at the stadium.
Last time Yogi kind of had a ceremony at the ballpark, you did something pretty special when Yogi Berra did.
You know, that thought did cross my mind watching Yogi and Ron Guidry driving him around the stadium. Was Yogi Berra Day in 1999.
David went on to pitch a perfect game that day. The 0-1. High drive, right field. Backing up Swisher. Near the wall. He'll make the play on the warning track for the final out of a 1-2-3 inning. So the Mariners go down in order. Mariners nothing, and the New York Yankees coming about. Former Yankee warming up. Today's Yankees starting lineup presented by Lexus. Yankees coming at 18-14. They lead off the captain, the DH, Derek Jeter. Batting second, playing center field, Curtis Granderson. Alex Rodriguez at third base hits third. The red-hot Robinson Cano. He has 8 hits in his last 9 at-bats. He'll clean up and play second. Mark Teixeira at first base will bat fifth. Batting sixth, playing right field, Nick Swisher. Raul Ibanez in left field will hit seventh. The number 8 hitter is the catcher, Russell Martin. And Jason Nix will play shortstop and bat ninth.
Hector Noesi, former Yankee. Yankee fans will remember him last year. This will be his 7th start on the year. Numbers are a little shaky, but he has been much better as of late. His last 3 starts have been pretty good. The scouting report, it is welcome back. He was 2-2 with a 4.5 ERA for the Yankees last year, but he has had road woes. He's 0-2 with a 9.22 ERA on the road as opposed to 2-1 with a 3.86 ERA at home. He's got to figure that one out, and he is the other guy. You know, you talk about the Montero trade and Michael Pineda, and Noesi's kind of flown under the radar. He's in the rotation for the Mariners, and he's going to get a shot to pitch.
Derek Jeter takes the first pitch outside. .372 average is good for, at least coming into action today, second place in the American League behind Josh Hamilton. And a strike. Derek leads with 51 hits. Second in the American League in average, first in hits, fourth in on-base percentage, first in multi-hit games, first in opposite field hits. Yeah, he's had a good first month and a half. The 1-1. Grounded to first, tough hop, but Smoke stays with it. 1 out. Let's take a look now at the Mariners defense, which is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer. Since we saw Smoke, we'll start with him. Smoke, Ackley, Kawasaki, and Seager first and third. Then Karp, Saunders, and Suzuki left to right. John Jaso behind the plate. Hector Noesi is on the mound. Here's Granderson. Granderson loves hitting here at Yankee Stadium. In fact, in the career of this Yankee organization, which started back in 1903, he's third best in terms of home runs per at bat at home. And that one is going to make the seats. Number one is Babe Ruth, who hit a home run every 10.5 at bats. Then Oscar Gamble had a home run every 12.54 at bats. And Curtis Granderson has a home run every 12.82 home at bats. So that guy's first. And the guy at the plate is third. Nice company, the 2-1. And all three guys, you could say, had swings built for Yankee Stadium. In fact, the first guy, Yankee Stadium, was built for his swing. Oscar Gamble was a perfect Yankee Stadium pull hitter, and Granderson's become that as well. Three-two. Grounded fair. Smoke Fields flips to Noesi for the second out.
Noesi just was not a throw-in. You know, we mentioned he's the other guy in that Montero trade. I was really impressed with him, Michael, last year. He's got a nice fluid delivery, up to 95 already, topping out with the fastball. He was going to get a chance to pitch here, too, with the Yankees. But that was part of the deal, as you see, in that trade. Yeah, Jose Campos was a very hot prospect who's, as Michael mentioned last night, is on the DL down in A-ball, I believe, or in the minor leagues.
A-ball, yep.
With an elbow problem, but Hector Noesi, not a throw-in. He was a big part of that trade.
Alex Rodriguez skies one deep to right field. Suzuki back on the track at the wall, leaps, and he makes the play. Took an extra base hit away from Alex Rodriguez. I don't believe that would have been out, but Alex goes right down the line, and Suzuki takes it away right near the 314 mark. He goes up, and he comes down with the baseball, and we'll go to the second with no score. Besides winning 10 championships, what is Yogi Berra's greatest baseball achievement? Here are your choices, and you can text your vote to 42951. Standard text messaging rates apply. Was it the 3-time American League MVPs, 18 All-Star appearances, 358 home runs, are catching Don Larson's perfect game. He was also one of the 2 catchers, along with Johnny Bench, on the All-Century team, but that is not one of your choices. Here's Jesus Montero. You get the sense when you hear Montero interviewed that he really misses being a Yankee. When you see the number on his back, he could have had any number for the Seattle Mariners, but he decided to stay with number 63. And the reason was that's what the Yankees assigned him last year, which is what they do sometimes when rookies come up in September. They give him a high number, and he wanted to take that number. He said he wants to make that number famous in Seattle.
It's a good number if you turn it around.
Great number then. If you see him before games today, the same thing. You'll occasionally catch him looking longingly out to right field. You know, we talk about left-handed batters built for this stadium. He's a right-handed batter built for this stadium. And he hit one yesterday to right. Hughes staying away in the count 3-2.
Well, he was so highly touted in the Yankees minor league system as, you know, a top prospect all the way through. And then when he finally broke in last September, Yankee fans fell in love with him because he broke in with a bang, hit over 300 and hit those home runs to right field here at the stadium.
Here's Montero actually talking about right field.
I cannot wait to play tonight. You know, I'm thinking about the right field like last week. This is really close right here for everybody. Yeah, everybody knows.
That was Jesus talking to Jack Curry, but he doesn't get a chance to go to right field that time as he swings and misses against Hughes.
This is what 95 miles an hour just off the plate does. Montero, one of the things and one of the knocks on Montero, he's a little bit of a free swinger. He's not up there to walk, and he's a bit of a hacker, even though he's multi-talented and has a lot of power to right field.
Here's Kyle Seager. You can see in Kansas City, he has certainly gotten his velocity back because he carried 95 right through his 100th pitch. And that tells you something. And he said he had discovered something in the bullpen where he got back to the way he was pitching as a reliever, just letting it air out. High fly ball. Left center. Granderson will run it down for the second out.
I think, you know, with Phil Hughes, too, as you see here, 2 quick outs and only 19 pitches, and that's what I'm paying attention to with Phil Hughes. I mean, he's been well over 4 pitches per at-bat. It's been hard for him to get deep into the games. But, you know, he's gotten back to that philosophy, Michael, of, you know, let me pitch fastball, curveball, and then mix in my cutter and my changeup. When Phil Hughes first came up, they said, you need to learn another pitch. You need to come up with a cutter. You can't just get away with fastball, curveball. So he started throwing a lot of cutters and came up with that pitch. And then it was a changeup, and he kind of struggled learning that pitch. And you get caught in between, and he's gone back to the basics. Power fastball, curveball, and then mix in the other 2 pitches off of that.
High fly ball, center field. Carp is retired, and that'll do it. After 1.5, there's no score coming up. The hottest Yankee, 9-game hitting streak, 8 out of 9 successful. heads back home for the dedication of his high school's new baseball field. Then at 5 after the game, the skipper discusses all the latest Bombers news on a new WB Mason Presents The Joe Girardi Show. It all starts tomorrow at noon. It's only on Yes. Well, you can't be much hotter than Robinson Cano. 8 of 9 in his last 9 at-bats, 8 hits, 9-game hitting streak, 10 for his last 15, 14 for his last 26. And he's on everything right now. 4 hits yesterday, 3 hits the previous night. Last 6 games, 12 for 20. No matter how you slice it and dice it, he is very, very hot. Hit sharply to second. Ackley is there. 1 away. Here's Mark Teixeira. He has 3 hits in his last 23 at-bats, but he picked up 2 hits yesterday. One a swibber, essentially a bunt to the left side. He picked up a hit. There's a strike. And again, an extreme shift by the Mariners. 3 infielders on the right side.
Yeah, you're going to see more and more of this against Teixeira. Obviously, Joe Madden of the Tampa Bay Rays has started this. There's shifts, and then there's extreme shifts. And Teixeira is going to see the extreme shift, as you see. Almost like a slow pitch softball, that extra position, the outfielder. Wishbone offense.
And he hits over the shift and right down the right field line. That'll go into the corner, fielded out there by Ichiro. And Teixeira picks up the first hit of the game, a double to right.
Teixeira been a streaky hitter for his Yankee career, and you see he just keeps that ball fair. Certainly his left side stroke is more of a dead pull stroke, but he's had trouble just an extra beat, not only beating the shift but keeping those type of balls fair. See maybe Teixeira start to jump on the board and get hot too. In fact, last night was the first time the Yankees have had 2 hits from each of their 3, 4, and 5 hole spots. So the middle of their order really, as of yet, to get going this year.
Here's Nick Swisher with a runner on second base and 1 out. Nick has 24 ribbies this year. Noisy dials it up to 94 miles an hour.
Swisher's approach this year much more aggressive than in years past. Teixeira on second base here, not a threat to steal.
High fly ball left field. Carp makes the play for the second out.
Swisher was kind of known, Michael, for getting his share of walks in the years past. You know, almost to a 100 walk a year guy, but not this year. Only 9 walks so far. And you see him there swinging the bat early in the count, much more this year.
There's one of the heroes from yesterday, a 3-run home run. Gave the Yankees a lead. They were down 2-1 when he connected. He's had 3 game-winning hits for the Yankees in the early going. There's a strike. That was off his former teammate, Felix Hernandez.
It's been good in this spot, too. 308 with runners in scoring position on the year so far.
Ibanez has 7 hits in his last 18 at-bats. Also with the injury to Gardner, playing a lot more outfield than the Yankees had planned. They had essentially planned for him to DH against right-handed pitching.
Hector Noesi never really got a chance to start for the Yankees, mainly a middle reliever. You know, Hector Noesi is one of 9 former Yankee pitchers who have started for other major league teams this season. A.J. Burnett, Bartolo Colon, Karstens, Kennedy, Ted Lilly, Dustin Mosley, Carl Pavano, and Jake Westbrook. So a lot of former Yankee starters out there making starts, and could use Brett Gardner back in that lineup too.
2-2. Served into left field. Fair ball, it's trouble. It is a fair ball. And it goes into the corner. Scoring easily is Teixeira. And Ibanez picks up an RBI double. Yankees have a 1-0 lead.
This is just sort of protecting. You see that pitch down and away, almost in the other batter's box. Watch the plate coverage from Ibanez, reaching, just trying to put the ball in play. Little backhand, down the line, trades places. And on second scores, you go to second base.
Teixeira scores. Here's Russell Martin. Kevin Long feels that Martin is about to bust out. Made some subtle changes to Martin's approach at the plate after Martin came to him. And it's just a simple triggering device. And although Martin didn't get a hit yesterday, Long felt that the at-bats were good, and he feels he's going to start picking up hits. Count 0-2. The 0-2. Driven out to center field and deep. Going back Saunders. Still back. Still back. It's over his head and up against the base of the wall. And Russell Martin's in with an RBI double. And it is 2-0 Yankees. David, let's take a look at what Kevin Long's talking about. You can see how happy he is because they've been working a couple of days on this and they feel that it's ready to click. You see on the left what Russell was doing was putting the leg up and getting it down a little bit too far out in front. Now he just wants it as a triggering device to lift it just a bit and then move it just a bit, and it keeps more of his back leg solid on it rather than drifting forward. And it worked right there.
He stayed with it, and it's a good way to shorten up your stride. And you know, a lot of hitting coaches talk about getting the foot back down if you have a high leg kick, and that's just more of a toe tap, a la Bernie Williams there, but a much shorter stride. And Russell Martin and the Yankees playing trading places here. One of the old sayings on the bench was trade places with him, and Russell Martin trades places with him again. And the Yankees have back-to-back doubles.
You know, in essence, David, that's what Kevin Long tried to do last year with Jeter, and it didn't work for Derek. Derek had to go back to what he was comfortable with, but for Russell Martin, it just did click in, and it clicked in also when they did that similar work with Curtis Granderson. But I think the key, whenever you're going to change somebody's stance, they've got to come to you. They've got to feel that, you know, they're at rock bottom and they're willing to listen and learn. And Russell's really been struggling. He was 1 for 16 before that double. There's a strike.
And a good sign for Martin too, because a lot of hitters think that you're going to lose some power if you don't generate, you know, that leg kick. And Martin driving that ball to dead center with a shorter stride is going to give him even more confidence to sort of stick with it.
High fly ball, deep right. Ichiro back, leaps. See ya! An opposite field home run, a 2-run shot from Jason Nix, and the Yankees lead 4-0.
Noesi really hasn't made too many bad pitches in this inning. And he gets burned. That's a Yankee Stadium home run. Really good piece of hitting, and there's a high leg kick. Jason Nix didn't get the memo from Kevin Long yet, but he's always hit that way, and Ichiro tries to go up, and that is the first row, the definition of a wall-scraping home run. Noesi the victim, Nix the victor.
Derek Jeter thinking bunt, takes inside, has to get out of the way. So 4 extra base hits for the Yankees and 4 runs, 3 doubles and a home run.
A little shell-shocked if you're on the mound right there. Ibanez hit a really good pitch off the plate, and that ball there was a decent pitch down and away. You're staring at a 4-run deficit here in the bottom of the second. All with 2 outs.
Count 1-1.
The proverbial 1 pitch from getting out of it. Next thing you know, you're on the ropes and your team's behind.
Phil Hughes is loving it. David, you gave that stat whenever he's been up 3 runs or more, he's 28-0, or he's 25-0, the team's 28.
There you go, early in the game. There's your runs.
The 1-2. Still 1-2.
A lot of talk about the Yankees DH sort of situation this year, and Alex getting a lot of DH time. Derek's done pretty good with the DH. He came in hitting .476 as a DH this year, 10 for 21. He seems to like that little half day off of not playing shortstop and go ahead and swing the bat.
Dribbled slowly to short. Kawasaki makes the play for the final out of the second. But the offense comes alive for the Yankees. To share a double, he's driven home by Ibanez's double. Then Russell Martin a double. And then Jason Nix topped it off with an opposite field home run. Again, now that you can watch live Yes Network Yankees games on your PCs or laptops with Optimum Online. Get a full season of live Yankees games on the go for just $49.99. If you're an Optimum Online customer who watches Yes on IOTV, go to YesNetwork.com to get more information and subscribe now. Justin Smoak takes a breaking ball strike, and Hector Noesi takes a break. Jason Nix with a wall scraper, 2-run home run. Yankees lead 4-0 as we go to the third. There's the first base hit against Hughes, a single for Smoak. Smoke had 3 hits yesterday in 4 at-bats. Now picks up a hit in his first at-bat today. On the Lincoln scoreboard, 4-0 Yankees, 4-4-0, 0-1-0. And here's Michael Saunders. Slice the other way. 0-2.
Phil Hughes this year sort of a reverse split, Michael. You know, he's had trouble against left-handed batter or against right-handed batters as opposed to lefty. Lefty's hitting just 231 off of him this year. Righty's 345. That's probably why he sort of changed his approach and get back to the fastball, curveball predominantly, and then mix in his other 2 pitches occasionally. Sometimes, you know, as I said before, you get caught in between trying to mix all of your pitches, and you see that split right there, just complete reversal of what it should be. He's got good enough stuff to be able to dominate right-handed batters. See, not a cutter yet. You know, early starts in this year and last year, Phil Hughes used to throw a bunch of cutters into lefties. Now he's just back to fastball, curveball. At least first time through the order, try to get those pitches going, maybe an occasional changeup. Really be aggressive with that fastball as well.
Popped up, shallow center. And Granderson puts it away. You hear it so much with young pitchers, and I mean, it seems to be over and over. It becomes a cliche in spring training. He's working on a change, and no starter could just have 2 pitches. Well, David, what if the 2 pitches are great? Can't you start with just 2 great pitches?
You start with 2 great pitches, and the purpose of a 3rd pitch or a changeup is usually for the 3rd time through the order. You know, when you have to face this, you know, the same lineup starts to roll over, then you can give them a different look, you know, the 3rd time through the order. But first 2 times through the order, you should establish your fastball, your curveball, and work from there.
Kawasaki pops one up, shallow right. Cano is there, and it drops. Throw to second. They got him. So Kawasaki does not get a hit, and Nick Johnson fired to Nix to get the force. Nick Swisher fires to Nix to get the force.
A little bit of Alphonse and Gaston. I got it, you take it. Robbie looks. Great job by Swisher on the recovery. You know, Robbie just kind of, you know, he thinks Swisher's got it, and he sees the ball bounce there, and he just kind of looks up and looks away, and Swisher's the guy who does damage control there and makes a hell of a recovery.
Swisher was playing really in right center, really had to go a long way, and Cano did wave when he was going back. I think Swisher thought Cano had it all the way. Pitch is high to Ackley.
Not much Smoke could do here. I mean, he's got to assume that ball's going to get caught. He's already going back. Doesn't have great wheels, more of a first baseman power hitter. Can't really put that on him.
Kawasaki had some lead. About a .235 hitter lifetime in Japan, but he is a glove man. He can really pick it at shortstop.
And a big lead. I mean, really challenging Phil Hughes.
Strike.
I got to take a shot at him there. That is huge.
Warren's going to take a shot at him. Just got back.
Russell Martin with an excellent arm. You see, that was fairly close. And bang, bang, gets the hand in. And the difference there is whether you're a right-handed or a left-handed first baseman. A much easier play for a left-handed first baseman with the glove on the tag side. See, when a catcher tries to pick off a runner at first and you have a right-handed first baseman, you almost have to wheel all the way around to make the tag, as opposed to a left-handed first baseman. We just put the glove on the bag and make the tag a lot easier. See, the glove on the left hand of Teixeira is further away from the runner.
Popped up. Nix will put it away for the final out of the third. No runs a hit. One man left. We go to the bottom of the third. It's going to be Granderson, A-Rod, and Cano. When the Yankees take on the Reds in an interleague matchup, it's cap day. All guests in attendance will receive a Yankees cap courtesy of Hess. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com, visit the stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. Lincoln scoreboard 4-0. Yankees lead Seattle, and Curtis Granderson will lead off against Hector Noesi. There's a strike.
Michael, you mentioned Granderson loves Yankee Stadium, loves hitting at home. He's 0 for 1 with a ground out so far today.
Ground ball of smoke. One away.
Pretty incredible splits for Granderson, though, when you think about it. Just .233 with 1 home run on the road this year. .308 at home with 10 home runs. So certainly, as you said, Michael, loves Yankee Stadium. At 0 for 2 today.
Here's Alex Rodriguez, flirted with a short porch home run in the first inning, right down the line in right, but Ichiro made a nice play up against the 314 sign. Kevin Long, the Yankee hitting coach, said Rodriguez's hitting has been obscured by how hot Robinson Cano is. He said, but Alex is on everything. He said he's about right where we need him to be. In May, he's 15 for 37. One and one.
That middle of the Yankee order got a lot to give. Cano gets hot. Teixeira hits home runs in bunches when he goes, and of course, Alex's offensive production speaks for itself over his career. You just get that sense, Michael. Boy, the Yankees' offense has been good. Their bullpen's been really good. A lot of talk about their rotation being shaky, but this Yankee offense has got a lot more to do.
Jason Nix chipped in. The 1-2. As Alex swings and misses.
Noesi's slider. See, Alex hasn't seen one yet from Noesi. It's not probably his third or fourth best pitch is that slider. A good one there, and Alex fooled.
Here's Cano. He grounded to second in the second. 9-game hitting streak. Fouled that one. The 0-1. It's now 0-1. One of 5 players in the bigs to bat over 300 in each of the past 3 seasons. Ryan Braun, Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, and Joey Votto, the other 4. See, Noesi has a live arm, 94 miles an hour.
And right now, after the disappointing 4 spot he gave up in the last inning, he's just got to just settle down, keep the Mariners right there. Try to get something out of this start. One of the best attributes you can have as a starting pitcher is amnesia. You see his resume right there. You just forget about it. The sooner you can forget about the damage you gave up and worry about it after the game, the better off you are.
Almost a year ago, he made his debut with the Yankees. A win in Baltimore, came in relief in an extra inning game. The 1-2. Hammered foul. Four innings, 4 hits, did not allow a run. Boy, he had 8 base runners in 4 innings. Struck out 4 through 66 pitches and got the win. The 1-2. Missed outside.
Sort of get back to Bernie Williams, a great center fielder for the Yankees. I asked Bernie one day, Michael, I said, what are you thinking about? It was the year Bernie won the batting title. I said, what are you thinking about when you go up to hit? And he said, nothing. Absolutely nothing. His mind was blank. He didn't remember what he did his last at bat. He was just focused on the present, right here and now. And it's a great attribute to have when you're a professional athlete.
Some players can't do it, even some good players, because it's paralysis by analysis, and they overthink and they look at tape and things like that. What did this guy throw me last time? But Bernie was able to step in the box with a clear mind.
There's plenty of time to review in between starts or after the game, but in the heat of the battle, the sooner you can forget about something bad that just happened, the better off you're going to be on the next task.
Grounded to second, Ackley right there. And a nice bounce back inning for Noesi as he retires the Yankees in order. We go to the 4th. It'll be Jaso, Ichiro, and Montero coming up. happens as we go to the fourth inning. Freddie Garcia won 18 games for the 2001 Mariners. Who was the only Mariners pitcher to win more games that season? We'll find out the answer in the bottom of the fourth. Here in the top of the fourth, we're joined by our colleague, Jack Curry. Actually made that sign and gave it to a fan. Just a Curry favor. And John Jaso leads off. Lofts that one to left field, but it is slicing foul. Let's start off with Phil Hughes on the mound. There was some concern, Jack, that he'd have pressure. Is he going to be the guy that's taken out of the rotation when Andy comes back? But we find out today David Phelps is going to the bullpen.
Right, I think when we saw Phelps warming up last night, that was the indication. There were indications before that. Joe Girardi has made very complimentary remarks about Hughes in his last couple of starts. And David brought it up earlier, that start in Kansas City, the velocity he had on the fastball. Girardi talked about that before the game and said, listen, this is what we've been waiting for, and a pitch like that is what they've been waiting for. And he said, we feel that there's more in there. We're not looking just 6 2/3, 3 runs, 7 strikeouts, what he did against Kansas City. They want to see him get to the 8th inning. They want to see him get to the 9th inning. They insist that they believe that Hughes can give them more.
Well, for the time being, he is in the rotation. He also has 4-0 lead as we are in the fourth inning. Got an update on Brett Gardner? We saw him sitting in the dugout.
Yes, I asked Brett Gardner, are you really going to be able to go 10 days without picking up a bat? Because knowing Gardner and how active he is, kind of doubted that he would. And he smiled and he said, I'm probably going to pick up a bat in the next couple of days. But then he couched it and said, I'm just going to practice bunting. He wants to at least try and keep his bunting sharp. And he said in terms of being frustrated about the elbow injury, he said, I'm a realist. This is what it is right now, and I'll be back by June. So he's looking to try and get back sometime in June.
The 1-2. 2-2. I wonder if the Yankees would be happy if he's bunting, because it's still vibrating the area. I mean, you just want to shut that area down.
It's a good question. That was his plan. Maybe the Yankees will shut him down on that, but he thought that just the ability to get out there and still be able to kind of see the ball out of someone's hands might be something that can help him.
Breaking ball outside, 3-2. Yankees scored 4 runs in the second inning. 2-run double by Ibanez, double by Martin, and then a 2-run home run by Jason Nix. As Jaso hits a fly ball to center. Granderson is there. 1 away. And you would have to say that the likelihood of Jason Nix contributing to the 2012 Yankees was pretty much a long shot.
Definitely a long shot, Michael. When I saw guys like Jason Nix, Dwayne Wise, Russell Branyan in spring training, it dawned on me, why would you sign a minor league deal with a team like the Yankees, where take a guy like Nix, you look at the Yankees infield, Cano, Jeter, Alex Rodriguez, and Eduardo Nunez as a backup, where do you fit in? Now, though I haven't asked Nix that question specifically, I did ask Dwayne Wise, and he said, listen, this is a team that wants to succeed. I wanted to come to a team where I had the chance to win. If they liked me enough to sign me to a minor league deal, they liked me enough to think that I could help them contribute. And I think Nix must feel the same way.
1-1 count on Ichiro. Breaking ball outside, 2-1.
But that revolving door has to get tough when you're a player like Nix. I mean, 5 years, 5 organizations. He's been with the Rockies, the White Sox, the Indians, the Jays. I'm sure he'd like to find a permanent home, but when you hit 169, as he did with the Jays, you're not going to have a lot of people knocking down your door for a full-time spot.
And you also better make every play in the field. So far, he's done that. And that home run will buy him some time as well. Ground ball up the middle and through for base hit for Ichiro. So Nix has bounced around. Sometimes you bounce around teams because everybody wants you, or teams do desire your services. That could be Raul Ibanez, Seattle, Philadelphia, now the Yankees. And Ibanez has had an unbelievable impact, especially from the 7th spot in the order.
I think that's the thing, Michael, that gets overlooked. If you look at what this guy has done, 6 homers, 20 runs batted in now from the 7th hole. No other team in baseball has more than 4 homers or 17 runs batted in from that slot. And I just took a quick glance at the box scores last night, and if you look at who was batting 7th for other teams in the American League, it just shows you the edge the Yankees have with Ibanez. The only guy that I could find as I looked, and I know it's one night of box scores and things change, but the only guy who jumped out for me was Mike Napoli. I mean, you see teams batting guys like Alexi Ramirez, Chris Getz, Parmalee, Peralta, Barton. Vernon Wells was on his last legs. Sean Rodriguez. You know, then the Orioles have Chris Davis as a guy who's shown some power. But it really shows you what kind of an edge he gives the Yankees in that lower third of the order.
Strike on the outside corner. And look at the game-winning hits that he's had this year. April 10th, RBI double in the 12th inning in Baltimore. Then May 8th against the Rays. It happened in the 4th inning, but it was a game winner, a 2-run home run. And then last night against the Mariners, the 3-run home run in the 6th. And it's amazing, too, how in baseball you've got to let things breathe. It's almost like fine wine. I mean, how many people on Twitter, Jack, that we got tweets from wanted to get rid of Ibanez after his awful spring? What are the Yankees doing? They should get rid of him. Sometimes you got to wait.
Right, 30 or 40 bats into spring training, and people were ready to bury this guy. Meanwhile, you look at his track record, and I know it's a cliche, but the Yankees believed in him. They believed that he was a guy once he got things going. And I had a conversation with Kevin Long. I remember it was about 10 or 12 or 14 days before spring training was over in Fort Myers, and he said, listen, I'm not looking at the 3 for 40 or 3 for 35, whatever it was. He said, I'm in the cage with this guy every day. I like what I see. I like the production that I'm getting from him in the cage. He said, this guy drove in over 80 runs last year. He'll do the same thing for us this year. And so far, he looks like he is. And when you spend a modest amount of time around Ibanez, too, he's a guy who's very easy to be impressed with. His work ethic, his professionalism, just the way he goes about his job. Whatever he does on the field, he's also helping the Yankees in the clubhouse.
The 2-2. Breaking ball, foul back. Yeah. David, that's pretty important, right? I mean, the type of guy he is.
Very important. You know, he backs it up. He's always been that way. It's sort of a cage rat. He can't get enough batting practice. After the game, you'll see him. He'll be in the batting cage a couple, 3 hours after a ball game, a night game. It was his hit here that started off the 4th, a 2-out hit. He's been good in the clutch this year, over 300 with runners in scoring position.
2-2. 3-2.
From a reporter standpoint, I mentioned that day in Fort Myers, I was trying to get a couple of interviews pregame, and I asked him if he had a minute. He was kind of in the middle of something, and then I had to go elsewhere, so we never connected. The next day, he came to me and said, hey, I missed you yesterday. Can we do that some other time? Wow. I got to tell you, that hasn't happened too often.
High fly ball. Right field. Long run for Swisher. Run out of room. Now, Montero's really battling Hughes. One thing, you know, Jack and I were standing on the field before the game that we noticed, Montero can't pull himself away from the Yankees. The Yankees are taking batting practice. He's hovering around. I think he's still in his mind. I mean, his whole adult life has been as a New York Yankee farmhand.
Well, in the interview I did with him yesterday, I said, what are the differences between playing in Seattle and playing in New York? And he kind of chuckled and he said, you know the difference. The Yankees are the Yankees. Seattle is Seattle. And I don't think he was trying to be derogatory. I just think he was saying it's a different world for him now than what he was used to.
And he works a walk. He also yesterday to the writers was raving about Yankee Stadium. It's so beautiful. I love it. It's so gorgeous. And they said, well, Safeco Field's nice. And he goes, yeah, that's all right, too. But, I mean, he really, I think, it probably tore him a little bit. He's gotten a great chance with the Mariners, but I think in his mind he wanted to be great with the Yankees.
When you look at he's 22 years old, Michael, as we said, he was with the Yankees for about, what, a quarter of his life? Something close to that, and that's what he knew. He wanted to succeed here. He wanted to be a catcher here, hit in this ballpark, follow in the footsteps of the guys like Jorge Posada and all of the great catchers who came before him. I think the Yankees thought, even though they never said it publicly, he was probably going to be more of a DH throughout his career. And to get to Pineda, a guy that they really thought could help their rotation, they were willing to give up Montero.
Seager takes a pitch outside, so uses worked himself into a little bit of a jam. Ichiro squeezes a single up the middle, then he loses a battle with Montero to walk him first and second with 1 out. Top of the 4th inning, it's 4-0 Yankees. And the 1-0 to Seager is a strike. And these are the spots that Seager really likes. 8 of his last 9 he's gone, and 6 for his last 6 with runners in scoring position. So Hughes has to really bear down here. 1-1. Popped up. Alex Rodriguez makes the play for the second out. So Seager's been hot in those situations, and Robinson Cano's been hot overall. And I know you spoke with Cano and with Kevin Long. What have they done differently to get him straightened out?
Well, Long thought that Cano was drifting too much with his front leg. He felt like he was almost lunging at the ball, when the 2 words we hear hitting coaches say all the time: stay back, stay back. When you ask Derek Jeter why has he turned his game around, he says, I have to stay back. Staying back, it allows you to recognize the pitch longer. It allows you to do more with the at-bat than you would have if you're lunging forward. And Robinson said it was that simple, a matter of not drifting. The other thing is he's hitting more fastballs. Believe it or not, pitchers were getting him out on fastballs earlier this year, and Long said anything now 95, 96, Cano was handling it.
The 0-1 as Carp swings and misses. 0-2. And the pitch. 1-2. Ichiro's at second and Montero's at first. 4-0 Yankees, top of the 4th inning. Just missed. Carp's been hurt a lot of the year, and he's hitting just 111. So Hughes wants to go right at him, especially with Smoke on deck, who's had 4 hits in this series. 2-2. Strike 3. That'll do it. We'll get more from Jack on the postgame show with Bob Lorenz. In the 4th inning, no runs a hit, no errors, and 2 men left. We go to the bottom of the 4th, and Mark Teixeira will lead off. State Smokers Quit Line Quiz. Freddie Garcia won 18 games for the 0-1 Mariners. Who was the only Mariners pitcher to win more games that season? Give you the answer. It's Jamie Moyer. Even that, back then in 2001, he was the ancient Mariner. Now he's the old Rocky. The 0-1. Grounded to the shortstop. That's Kawasaki. And there's one away.
You know, Michael, I can deal with Andy Pettit coming back, you know. But Jamie Moyer really gets to me. I'm younger than he is.
You're younger than Jamie Moyer. Again, though, what arm does he throw with?
He's a lefty, that's for sure. You know, they had a great graphic on Jamie Moyer. I think he had faced all the coaches on the team he faced. Davey Lopes he faced. He was like 67 years old.
And he sat out a full year coming back from surgery. He doesn't want to just pitch this year. He wants to keep pitching.
A little more than 6 degrees of separation with Jamie Moyer.
Here's Nick Swisher. And a strike. High fly ball center field. Saunders shades his eyes from the sun and puts it away for the second out. Franklin Gutierrez, a Gold Glove center fielder, has been hurt. Went on the DL with a pectoral pull, and then when that got better, they discovered that he also had plantar fasciitis, which really takes a long time. I've seen players miss close to a year. When Mike Gallegos with the Yankees, that really sidelined him for a long time. It takes a long time to get back from that.
Yeah, Franklin Gutierrez, widely considered maybe the rangiest center fielder in the game. Can go get just about anything gap to gap.
Raul Ibanez takes a strike. Ibanez has 23 hits, and with those 23 hits, he's driven in 20 runs. So great production for him. And the 0-1. 1-1. Ibanez drove in the first Yankee run in the second inning with a 2-out double, driving home to Shera. Then Martin doubled him in, and then Jason Nix with a 2-run home run to right. Moves him inside and the count 2-1. 3 of Raul's last 5 hits have been home runs. And the 2-1. And then one out there in the count 2-2. And the pitch. Fouled away. It's going to be a big day at the stadium tomorrow as Andy Pettit will make his debut. Widely anticipated by the fans and by Andy Pettit. He is pumped up as well. It's going to be Mother's Day. It's going to be a good time at the ballpark tomorrow. We'll have it right here on Yes as well if you can't make it out. Game starts at 1. The 2-2. A lot of moms had their days changed tomorrow. They went from brunch right to Yankee Stadium. But if you couldn't get tickets, go to brunch and then turn on Yes. The 3-2. Club to center field. Saunders back. He's still back. He's still back. He's running out of room. See ya. A home run to dead center for Ibanez. Into Monument Park, and it's 5-0 Yankees.
A 3-2 fastball up and out over the plate, and that ball is driven.
It is a Coors Light cold hard blast. Saunders just ran out of real estate. Russell Martin swings and misses. 8 home runs.
That's why they put the net up over the monuments, because that was headed right for Yogi Berra's plaque. Ibanez, you know, you got to have bat speed to drive that fastball up and away to dead center.
And a strike.
That's quick, and that's what Kevin Long saw in spring training, as you said, Michael, and Jack Curry, about people giving up on Ibanez because he was struggling in spring training.
Grounded to second. Ackley's there, and that will do it. But Ibanez is now 2 for 2. 2-run scored, a double, a ribby, a home run, another ribby, another run score, another big hit for Ibanez, and the Yankees lead 5-0 as we go to the 5th. Bottom of the American League West, Triple Crown threats. We talked about this the other day. Josh Hamilton, he's leading in all categories. Matt Kemp, he's third with a .375 average, third with 27 ribbies, tied for first in home runs. Those two guys are legitimate Triple Crown threats. In a good first month and a half in baseball. Here's Justin Smoke. Fouled away. Yesterday, there was a little bit of a debatable thing that went on in the Angels-Rangers game, and I wanted to ask David about it. Yu Darvish, the Rangers have so much money invested in Yu Darvish with the posting fee and the guaranteed money, over $100 million. And he pitched a half of an inning before the rains came in Texas. And the game was delayed, I believe, an hour and 58 minutes. And after an hour and 58 minutes, they allowed Darvish to come out and pitch. I have never heard of that long of a wait, David. Yeah, that's pushing it a little bit. I mean, obviously you go with what Yu Darvish tells you too. If he wants it, and he's going out there, and he didn't throw a lot of pitches, obviously, in a half of an inning. But it's hard to get that loose, to get ready to pitch a game, throw a few pitches, and sit down for 2 hours, and then warm up again. You can take a lot out of your arm. He's in fantastic shape. He's got great stuff. Nolan Ryan's a little different breed down there in Texas. They're sort of the contrarians. They do not baby their pitchers down there. And the pitching coach, Mike Maddox, is considered one of the best. And I'm sure they didn't make that decision in a vacuum, and they got a win out of it. But today the Angels bounced back to win 4-2. You actually came back after a rain delay in your perfect game. We were talking about that earlier, right? I did. It was about a 45-minute rain delay. Swing and a miss as Smoke down on strikes. What is it that makes people a little wary about it? Just that you get stiff when you're sitting there waiting?
Well, you sort of speculated what it takes out of your arm, just to bounce back, to heat your arm up to the point of where you're actually pitching in the game, and then cool it back down for 2 hours, and then heat it back up again. And, what that takes out of your arm, and maybe not on that particular night, but maybe your next start and your next start down the road.
A lot of the new stadiums have a full mound right off the clubhouse and the dugout. And maybe if you just keep getting up every 15 minutes and throwing as if it's another inning, maybe that helps a little, I would think. But boy, an hour and 58 minutes on a valuable arm. It worked out. Has a ground ball to first, and Saunders is retired. And then the Angels did something strange today because C.J. Wilson pitched yesterday and really got slapped around before the rains came, and they had him come out and start today's game, and it worked out.
Yeah, to me that might be even more interesting than the previous situation with Yu Darvish. I've always believed it's more about the recovery time in between starts. A lot of today's theories, based on medical data, are based on pitch counts and increased innings over year to year. And, for me, Michael, if I missed a start later in my career, my arm seemed to get some life back into it. And I think we're going to see that on down the road in the next 10 years or so. More gearing towards a 6-man rotation, especially on the back end of the rotation. When we take the Yankees, for example, with some of their young prospects, they're not going much more than 5 innings in the minor leagues. They're really getting protected. The workloads are really being watched. I think that's going to trend towards more of a 6-man rotation or a skip a start in order to control the workload of these young pitchers.
Kawasaki with a fly ball to Granderson. He'll put it away, and Hughes works a 1-2-3 inning. We played 4.5. We're halfway through. Yankees lead 5-0. It'll be Nix, Jeter, and Granderson. Birthday, Yankees had a huge cake right outside the dugout, and then he came in from center field. Golf cart driven by Ron Guidry. Jennifer Steinbrenner Swindle wishes happy birthday to Yogi. So does the captain. And Yogi's resume, well, I mean, you all know, 19 big league seasons, 18 with the Yankees, 3 MVPs, 10 World Championships, 15-time All-Star, member of the All-Century team, and he was in the Hall of Fame by 1972. And his number 8 will never be worn again in Yankee history. Here's Jason Nix, a little bit low, 1-0, and having Guidry drive him in, there's a story behind that. Yogi comes spring training every year. Doesn't really like to drive, and Ron Guidry picks him up every day, drives him to the ballpark. Afterward, they go out and they get dinner. and then drives her back home. And Harvey Arrington, great columnist for the New York Times, has written a book called Driving Mr. Yogi, because he wrote a column about their friendship and how close they really are. And it ended up becoming a book, which is doing very, very well. Nix with a high fly ball to center. 1 out.
There's just so many stories Yogi has to tell, you know, much less all the Yogi-isms. It's the statements he's famous for. But what wonderful stories he's got to tell. And Ron Guidry's got a lot of them, you know, every day.
One of the cute stories that Guidry used to bring frog legs to spring training from his Louisiana home, and he finally got Yogi to agree to try it. Now Yogi loves them, and every spring Yogi asks, where are the frog's legs? And Guidry fries them up for him. Here's Derek Jeter. Check swing. Scott Barry says it first. Garrett's 0 for 2 today. Now Derek is the DH. Nix is playing shortstop. And you wonder how a veteran feels about DHing when they're used to being in the field all the time. And Derek and Alex have done it a lot. And David gave you the stats earlier that Derek's statistics are pretty good as a DH. I asked Kevin Long about it. He said there are certain stadiums they can't really stand it. He said then there are stadiums that they really like it. I said, well, what does the stadium have to do with it? He said if you have a batting cage behind the dugout, they don't mind because they can work on their swing. They're not sitting in the dugout. He said, but there are ballparks like Tampa Bay and Baltimore, he said, where they don't have that batting cage. He says, and that's when they shouldn't be DHing in those places because their mind is not in the right place when they're not hitting or not doing something they think moving them forward for the next at bat. In Yankee Stadium, right behind the dugout, is this huge batting facility, and that's what they do between at bats.
It does make a difference, you know, to be able to stay hot. You feel like, you know, you're not cold when you go up to the plate.
What'd you say? It was 10 for 21 coming into today as a DH?
Yeah, coming into today, 476 batting average and 21 at bats, 10 hits. Not including today, obviously, but pretty good numbers. You know, there's so many numbers with Jeter over his career, and then this year especially, off to his best start maybe ever. Everywhere you look, there's numbers to look at. Jeter just keeps defying the odds.
And there's his 52nd base hit of the season. Leads the league. Joe Girardi before the game was very proud of the fact that Jeter and A-Rod have played in every single game this year, and the DH allows him to do that.
That was the plan. Sort of a weighing station approach to the designated hitter.
And we mentioned this yesterday, it bears repeating. That's one of the reasons the Yankees felt they could trade Montero, because they looked at him as a DH, and they did not want the DH taken up by one guy, especially with older veterans on the left side of the infield that needed to DH. Here's Curtis Granderson. Want to know?
You know, and that kind of leads us to the, you know, Eduardo Nunez story, you know, in that a lot of people said, well, his offense, his speed, why not just DH him? But you can't, not on this team. As you said, Michael, you need that DH to rest some of the veteran players. And if you're going to be a utility guy on the Yankees, you better be able to play a lot of different positions.
One-on-one.
You know, that's part of the reason that Nix is here. He handles himself well at shortstop, at third. He can play outfield. You talk about finding somebody on the scrap heap. Well, if you're a veteran player, the more positions you can play, the better chance you're going to have a day like he's had today.
Runner goes, and it's fouled away. Swing and a miss. Granderson is 0 for 3 against Noesi. Well, if you're hitting the road, take the Yankees with you this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Yankees out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Yankees.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv. Baseball everywhere. Runner on first, 2 outs. Here's Alex Rodriguez. Seager deep and close to the line at third. Interesting defensive alignment by the Mariners, because what they do is they play into pull on ground balls, and in the outfield they're almost playing him like a lefty pull hitter, where they think that he'll take the ball the other way. The center fielder is in right center, the left fielder is in left center. Shattered bat and a slow ground ball to second. Ackley makes the play to get A-Rod, and that will do it. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. Top of the order coming up for the Mariners against Phil Hughes.
And just been watching a lot of video from my last few starts in the playoffs in 2010. That was the last time I pitched, so just been watching those and just trying to feel myself out there doing that again. But the only way to rehash it is to get back out there on that mound and to do it. So just looking forward to doing that.
We're looking forward to seeing it. We'll have it right here on Yes. Andy Pettitte makes his return tomorrow against Seattle. Today, the Yankees lead 5-0 as they try to take the second game of this 3-game set after winning last night 6-2. Dustin Ackley with an 0-1 count. Hughes deals, and it's 1-1.
Andy Pettitte was 11-3 in 2010 with a 3.28 ERA. He only had 21 starts that year, but in some ways, some of his best pitching was done in what we thought was going to be his last year, 2010, but it is not. Obviously, it's going to be tomorrow. He's going to resume his career, but very much on top of his game when he walked away.
1-2. Just missed as Hughes almost stabbed that one, but it goes into center field for a base hit. So who's Andy going to face tomorrow's starting pitchers? Brought to you by Verizon Fios. Welcome to America's fastest, most consistent, most reliable internet. Welcome to Life on Fios. It's Evan Millwood. He's been around a while as well. Looking for his first win, Andy Pettit will make his first pitch of 2012. Our coverage begins at 12:30 p.m. with the pregame show. First pitch will be right around 1:07. Here's John Jaso. And a strike.
Phil Hughes at 79 pitches in good shape. You know, Michael mentioned it. Joe Girardi expects more out of Hughes. They expect him to get deeper into the games. His last start was his only quality start of the year so far. Trying to back that up again today. Pretty good count though. 80 pitches here in the sixth. Nobody out, and a man on first. Done a better job in these counts, 0-2, of putting hitters away. Fewer 0-2 to 3-2 counts, and that's what we saw from Phil Hughes earlier in the year. Saw those numbers from his last start, and improving upon that again here today so far.
He's had 6 0-2 counts so far today, and that'll keep your pitch count down. Missed inside the Jaso, 1-2.
Once again, a much more simplified approach for Phil Hughes. Fastball, curveball. He's mixing a few changeups here the third time through the order. Sort of gets back to what kind of pitcher are you going to be? You know, Phil Hughes is going to be a power four-seam guy with a curveball and then mix in a cutter and a changeup. You see the pitches by inning. The fourth inning kind of got him up there at 28 pitches, although he got out of it with no damage. Last inning, only 11 pitches. Got him back on track. It almost seems like Phil Hughes got lost there and what type of pitcher he's going to be. And very definitive change of approach. Much more simplified.
Grounded to A-Rod. There's one. On to first. It's a double play. 5-4-3. Great pivot by Cano, getting rid of the ball quickly.
Phil Hughes, not known as a sort of ground ball double play guy, goes to the curveball. Gets it right at A-Rod. Just what the doctor ordered. Cano coming across the bag, got time. One pitch, 2 outs.
Here's Ichiro. 1-0. Ichiro 7 hits and 16 at bats against Phil Hughes. It's a strike, says Gary Darling. Ichiro came into the season with 2,428 hits. He's 38 years old. That one fouled straight back here and under our booth. And now he's 2,468, and 2,009 of them singles. Soft ground ball to second. Cano will get Ichiro, and that'll do it. Here in the sixth, we go to the bottom of the sixth inning, and Robinson Cano is going to lead off for the Yankees. They lead 5-0. What do you think is Yogi Berra's greatest baseball achievement? You've been texting us at 42951, and 40% say it's Larson's perfect game. And there's a strike. And it was Yogi that jumped into Larson's arm. Usually it's the other way around. Larson's a really big guy, and he caught Yogi as he was moving toward the first baseline.
Larson told me that he did not shake off a pitch on Yogi all day during that World Series game.
And that was strike 3. And watch Yogi leap right into Larson's arms. Grounded to first, Smoke. 1 out.
And you notice that windup that Larson had in that game on that last pitch. He was one of the first guys to do the abbreviated windup. You know, the old school windmill over the head windup was predominantly used during that day. And Larson, one of the first pitchers ever. And really, just a couple of weeks before that World Series game, he changed his whole motion. Just felt like he had better control and could throw the ball where he wanted to. And now you see a lot of pitchers today use that abbreviated windup or keep their hands at the belt. Noesi more of over the head, old school style with his windup.
Count 1-0. Count 2-0. Count 2-1.
Kind of sense Teixeira was getting better swings. He's getting better counts. 2-0. That was a real good swing and a fastball. We saw him early in the year just out in front a lot, especially batting left-handed. Even when he had good pitches to hit, just couldn't wait that extra second.
That one is driven deep to center field. Saunders back, still back. He's on the track and will make the play right in front of the bullpen door for the second out.
Teixeira getting much better swings. Right down the middle. You can see he drives it. Not out in front of that one. Just maybe a little too high. But a really good swing right here. You can see. We've seen him out in front a lot. He let the ball get there. Maybe just a little bit off of the sweet spot. The classic Teixeira swing, that uppercut, back leg style. Timing so important for him, especially batting left-handed.
The 0-1. 1-1.
Noesi's done a pretty good job here, really staying in this game. He gave him 4 runs in the bottom of the second, just 1 since, but he's given his team some innings. Still decent pitch count too, 87 here in the bottom of the 6th with 2 outs. All you can do when you're a starting pitcher and you fall behind that much early in the game is just hope your offense picks you up and hold them right there.
Dribbled slowly to first. Smoke will flip to Noesi, and that'll do it as he pitches a 1-2-3, 6th inning. So we've played 6 here at the stadium. As we go to the 7th, it'll be Jesus Montero leading off against Hughes. official hybrid of the New York Yankees. On a gorgeous Saturday afternoon, Yankees lead 5-0 as we go to the 7th. Jesus Montero, Kyle Seager, and Mike Karp, 4, 5, and 6 in Seattle's order against Phil Hughes. Cadillac scoreboard, 5-zip. Popped up, right field. Nick Swisher will put it away. 1 pitch, 1 out. With Kyle Seager coming up, let's check out the Home Depot hitter scouting report, David.
Well, he is one of the young, exciting players and probably been their most productive player. He's a cornerstone outfielder, or a third baseman rather, 24 years old, third rounder out of North Carolina University in 09. And good production. He has been the most productive hitter. RBIs wise, he leads the team in RBIs and actually has an RBI every 5.4 at bats, which is 14th best in the American League. And good in the clutch coming into today. He was hit 500 with runners in scoring position. The Mariners are excited. You know, that Montero, talk about that trade. And this kid, you know, has really done a good job for them. Playing third base. He can play second base as well. He was a teammate of Dustin Ackley in North Carolina. See Montero there. 2 things Montero does. He swings the first pitch a lot. We just saw that. And his last at bat, he did something he doesn't do a whole lot of. He walked. Just his 4th walk of the year for Montero.
Grounded to first. Teixeira will take it himself for the 2nd out. "91 pitches for Hughes. 56 strikes, 35 balls. And a strike to Karp.
A very aggressive approach, too, for Phil Hughes all day long. Served him well.
He's allowed just 3 hits. How about a forgotten man, Sean Figgins? Big money contract signed with the Mariners and doesn't even play anymore.
So productive with the Angels, too. Mike Scioscia used him just about everywhere.
That one is driven deep to right field. There it goes. See ya into the bleachers for Mike Karp. And the Mariners are on the board. Yankees now lead 5-1.
This is a straight Phil Hughes was hoping to break. You see a down and in fastball is launched over the bullpen. And Phil Hughes has now given up a home run in every one of his starts this year. But the solo shots here with a 5-run lead, now 4, not so bad.
That ties a franchise record to begin a season. Tim Leary did it back in 1990.
Be a patient year for the Mariners, you know, with these young hitters.
Fly ball shallow, right field. Nick Swisher on the run makes the play for the final out of the 7th. 1 run on the Karp home run, and nobody left at the end of 6.5. Time for the 7th inning stretch here at Yankee Stadium as the Yankees lead the Mariners 5-1, but will stay right here to help honor America in the Bronx.
As we remember the servicemen and women who are serving our country at home and around the globe. Thank you. Now joining Kate Smith's rendition of God Bless America.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. Here in the Bronx, it's time for the game summary brought to you by your local Nissan dealer. 5-6-0 Yanks, 1-4-0 for Seattle. Ibanez, a double, a home run, 2 ribbies, 2 runs scored. Knicks, 2-run home run, used 7 innings, the longest outing of the season for Phil, and there's nobody up in the Yankee bullpen. Ibanez swings at the first pitch and hits a high fly ball to right. Ichiro Suzuki is back, and he'll make the play right in front of the warning track. 1 pitch, 1 out. Cadillac scoreboard, 5-1 Yanks. And that'll bring up Russell Martin. Martin, Ibanez, and Nix, the bottom third of the order, really spearheaded that 4-run second inning, and that's the difference in this game right now. As Noesi pretty much has settled down. He did give up the home run to Ibanez in the 4th, but he's pitched okay.
Yeah, all that damage, too, coming with 2 outs in the bottom of the second inning. Russell Martin, the booming double to center field. And, of course, Ibanez got it all going with a really good piece of hitting on probably a ball down and away that he served into left field. And Noesi, much better than the line.
Sean Kelly warming. Got 2 messages to send out, David. Number 1, and I'm sure that you will echo this. Yogi's gorgeous wife, Carmen Barra, home watching the birthday celebration. He's coming back for a big birthday party, and we want to send out our love to Carmen Barra. She's the best. So hello, Carmen. Hope you're feeling good. And you know Eddie Lucas has been a reporter here for many, many years. His wife, Allison, watches every game on Yes, and she underwent some eye surgery. So we know that she's watching the game, and get well soon, Allison. That one's popped up, and that'll play. There's Eddie Lucas. Eddie was befriended by Phil Rizzuto, had a childhood accident where he lost his eyesight playing baseball, and has covered the game. Just a really good guy. And he asked if we'd say hello to Allison. Of course we would. 2 away. That's going to bring up Jason Nix.
I've been interviewed by Ed Lucas many times over the years. One of the most upbeat, positive interviews you'll ever have. He truly loves the game.
Jason Nix with a 2-run home run in the second. And it's one of the rare times this week where Nix and something positive can be put together after the New York Knicks were eliminated in 5 games by the Heat, their season over. But Nix is at the plate, and tonight Rangers will go up against the Caps in Game 7 at Madison Square Garden. Only the 5th Game 7 for the Rangers ever at Madison Square Garden, and they're 4-0 in the previous 4.
Bet the house.
Count 0-2. Swing and a miss. And Nix down on strikes as the Yankees go down in order. We're going to go to the 8th inning. It's been all the Yankees 5-1. Michael Saunders against Phil Hughes when we get back.
Well, you could see he came out smoking again. Good fastballs, good spots. Russell Martin holds the glove right there. Good changeup there. Mixed in that changeup sparingly, but used it at the right times. And you see he's here in the 8th inning. He's gotten through 7 with only 4 hits and 1 walk, and the pitch count under control. So that's why he's out there for the 8th.
Michael Saunders will lead off. Foul bat, still attacking with the fastball. Hyundai scoreboard, 5-1 Yanks.
And that's been it right there. You see those 2 pitches from Hughes. Is fastball, curveball all day long, occasional changeup, not many cutters. Occasionally, you know, we've seen him throw that cutter or slider. But the more you throw that curveball just like that, the better feel you're going to have for it, the better command you're going to have for it. And a lot of people think that Phil Hughes got away from this pitch too much. 71 miles an hour, a good 20 miles an hour off of his fastball, maybe a little more than 20. And 93 to 71 is a pretty good differential, and Phil Hughes kind of got away from that fastball, curveball, and threw a little too many cutters and trying to work on that changeup. Kind of lost himself. Now he's right back in terms of his approach. Almost to where he was when he first came in, when he first broke in.
Boone Logan up in the Yankee bullpen. And Saunders chases a fastball up out of the zone for a strikeout. David can add that to the next K by K.
So Phil Hughes, see that wrist cock right out of the glove? That's why he gets life on his pitches. That's not something you can teach somebody to do. I was a real wristy pitcher. I used to sort of wrap my wrist underneath and really try to get some wrist snap on my pitches. And a lot of pitching coaches try to break me of that habit. I have a feeling Phil Hughes has had that problem too. But we'll see when Phil Hughes takes the ball out of the glove, his wrist is already cocked.
Why do they try to break you out of that habit?
A lot of people think it might put a little too much pressure on your shoulder. It could lead to arm problems. But I think that's how Phil Hughes gets some life on his pitches, especially up in the zone, is kind of that wrist cock right out of the glove.
Popped up, shallow center. Backing up is Cano. He'll make the play for the second out.
See, right out of the glove, you see his wrist already loaded up.
Well, this is the deepest he's gone into a game all year. He has to be thrilled. Here's Dustin Ackley. And still dealing strikes, 0-1. Right back up the middle. Grabbed there by Nix. Fires to first. And Ackley beat it out. Good speed by Ackley. And he's now 2 for 4. He has an 8-game hitting streak.
A little bit of a ricochet off of Phil Hughes. Well, I don't know. We'll get another look at that.
Good call. Scott Barry, looks like you got the call right.
Foot's on the bag, ball hit the glove.
Here's John Jaso. Breaking ball strike. It's been fastball, breaking ball essentially all day. Remember seeing a changeup?
He's thrown just enough, you know, at the right spots too. Russell Martin's done an excellent job of calling the game. But you have to throw your second best pitch enough to get a feel for it. And Phil Hughes' second best pitch has always been his curveball, and he kind of got away from that. I know we've mentioned it before, but you see two, that's the curveball, right back with it.
That's what you want to do with a 2-strike curveball. Just bounce it up there. Maybe the hitter chases. Count 1 and 2.
But he has mixed in changeups at the right spots. And it has been effective. And, you know, a couple of cutters, sliders, too, to righties here and there. But definitely gotten back to his strength. So here now 111 pitches with 2 outs in the 8th. The crowd sort of getting the Hughes chant going again that we haven't heard since his reliever days of '09.
The 1-2. Looped into shallow left, and that is going to be a base hit right in front of Ibanez. So 2 straight 2-out singles. And the Mariners have runners on first and second, and that's going to do it with Ichiro Suzuki coming up. So Girardi's going to bring on Boone Logan. Let's listen to the hand that Phil Hughes gets when he departs. There hasn't been much to cheer about this year, but the Yankee fans are loading up with a grateful cheer. Let's listen. run, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. He threw 112 pitches, but with runners on first and second and 2 outs here in the 8th, Joe Girardi makes the call to the bullpen, brought to you by AT&T. And that call to the bullpen brings in Boone Logan.
Boone Logan's numbers on the year: 2.03 ERA. This will be his 18th game. 17 strikeouts in 13 1/3 innings.
First and second, here is Ichiro Suzuki. He's 1 for 3. Strike on the outside corner. Came in yesterday and struck out Kyle Seager, I'm sorry, on 3 such pitches, just clipping the outside corner. This is a fastball. He's got a good arm. Rapata and Wade up in the Yankee pen.
Slider on the black. Fastball on the inside corner. See if he goes right back to the slider to try to get Ichiro to chase, although Ichiro, the hardest man in the American League to strike out.
But he got him. He struck him out. That breaking ball diving down and away, so Logan comes on and does the job. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. Outstanding performance by Hughes, top of the Yankee order in the bottom of the 8th. .2951 or vote online at yesnetwork.com. Today's candidates are Phil Hughes, Raul Ibanez, Jason Nix, or Russell Martin. Vote now, make your voice heard. Standard text messaging rates certainly apply here. Well, Hector Noyce had 1 bad inning, and that was the second when the Yankees scored 4, and his team, which is not great offensively, has not been able to bounce back from that. They trail 5-1, so he turns it over now to Tom Wilhelmsen. This will be his 16th game. 19 strikeouts in 17 2/3 innings. Opponents hit .239 against him.
Yeah, Noesi just gave up 6 hits, 2 of them homers, and no walks. You look at the line at first, it doesn't look so great, but he pitched much better than his line will indicate tomorrow in the box score.
5-1 on the Hyundai scoreboard. Yankees lead. Jeter 1 for 3. Fouls it back. Goes hard, 96 miles an hour. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Yankees would love you to be in your seats early tomorrow. You've got the Andy Pettitte first game, but they also have a great pregame ceremony where they're going to honor a former Marine Corporal, Megan Levy, and the combat dog that she was in combat with, Sergeant Rex. There's a base hit for Captain Garrett. Leads off the 8th inning. Long story short, Sergeant Levy and Sergeant Rex were separated after both were injured. Then Sergeant Rex went back into combat 4 years later. When Sergeant Rex retired, Sergeant Levy was already, Corporal Levy was out of the Army with an honorable discharge because of the injuries she had suffered. She tried to adopt a dog. It was a long, drawn-out process, but they are finally together. They never forgot each other. And Alex Rodriguez and Nick Swish are going to take part in the ceremony. And it really should be a beautiful ceremony. And we're going to have a lot of highlights in the pregame and in the game as well. But if you have tickets to tomorrow's game, make sure you're in your seats early to see that great ceremony. Now with that base hit, Derek Jeter has tied a significant name on the all-time list. He's tied with the great Tony Gwynn. They both have 3,141 hits, one more hit, and he ties Robin Yount. He's moving up a lot quicker than people thought he was going to at this beginning of the season. He now has 53 hits to lead the American League.
It's almost you have to readjust your sights. You know, Jeter, one of the youngest players ever to reach 3,000 hits, but nobody thought that he was going to continue on and have the kind of start he had to this year. And now you're looking up the ladder a little bit. And how motivated is Jeter to keep going? I mean, I joked with him in spring training about 4,000 hits. Jeter he wouldn't bite. He's, I'm just trying to get a hit today, Coney, you know, and he's always team first kind of guy. But you have to wonder, when he's done, how high up the list he's going to make it.
A couple of weeks ago, Cal Ripken Jr. said he thought that Jeter could make a run at Pete Rose's number and definitely make a run at 4,000 hits. And last year, people were wondering how much longer can he go when he was struggling. But since he got that 3,000 hit, it's been a different player. And now he's going. The throw to second, not in time. 37-year-old legs carried him to a stolen base. Now here's the exact quote from Ripken. When it's all said and done, he'll be pushing close to 4,000 hits. I don't know if he'll get to Pete's record, but he's sure going to be passing a lot of people. And the record is 42.56. So he's at 31.41. He has 53 hits. So let's say he gets 200 hits. So he's got another 150 to go. So that'll bring him right around 32.90. As Granderson swings and misses. He is 0 for 4. Rough day for Granderson. So he would need roughly 700. And after this year, he signed for 2 more, 1 guaranteed and 1 at his option. He'd have to do another deal to get to 700, and he'd have to keep getting about 180 to 200 hits a year.
He's going to have to play into his 40s, that's for sure. You know, and then how long does he want to push it?
Pete Rose pushed it, what, to 45, right?
Well into his 40s, yeah, mid-40s. Derek was one of the youngest ever. I mean, I remember the exact number, but he was one of the youngest hitters ever, maybe second or third youngest to reach 3,000 hits. So he had himself in a position when he got to 3,000 to really move up the ladder, depending on how far he wants to go with his career.
The 0-1 to A-Rod. 1-1. Alex is 0 for 3 today. Ty Cobb was the youngest at 3,000. Then Aaron, Yount, Jeter, and Pete Rose.
4th youngest on that list.
And you never thought 4,000 was a possibility because the year before last year he hit 270. And then before he got injured, he was struggling. But he hurt his calf, went down to Tampa, worked with one of his original hitting coaches, Gary Denbo, came back, and he's hit about 340 since he came back. Alex Rodriguez has said it looks like the 1998-1999 version of Jeter the way he's playing this year.
Well, it is amazing. I mean, for all that Jeter's accomplished in his career, is it possible that he was undervalued? Maybe, you know, his last contract negotiation.
Swing and a miss. Alex Rodriguez down on strikes. Now, the day they each got their 3,000th hit, this is a comparison between Rose and Jeter. They were separated by 8 days in age. Jeter did it in 8 fewer games than Rose. But Rose turned it on at the end. As David said, he hung around and he knew every single milestone he was chasing. They said that he would be able to calculate his average by the time he got to first base. How many hits he had. And Cano laces a single in left field. Rounding third and heading home is Jeter. Here's the throw. It's wide. As Cano will go to second. An RBI single for Cano. Also a 10-game hitting streak. Also a 6-1 Yankee lead.
Right down the middle. That tells you something about Robbie. He's letting the ball travel. We saw him get out in front a lot more. Wilhelmsen throws hard. Robbie doesn't try to do too much. And Jeter still got some wheels. Much better balance. See the ball almost over home plate. Lets it get deep. Not afraid to semi-inside out the ball. Hit it the other way.
Here's Teixeira. His double in the second inning started the Yankees' 4-run rally. Teixeira doubled, and out later, Ibanez doubled him home for the first run. Then Martin doubled Ibanez home, and then Jason Nix a 2-run home run. Teixeira with a high fly ball to center. Saunders is there, and he'll put it away for the final out. But the Yankees get a run on 2 hits, 1 man left. We go to the 9th inning. Jesus Montero will lead it off as the Yankees lead 6-1. As Bob Lorenz recaps today's action and updates you with scores from around baseball. Plus, Jack Curry gets the team's reaction. And you could also hear Joe Girardi's postgame comments in the manager's report. It's the WB Mason postgame. It's only on Yes. New left fielder for the Yankees is Dwayne Wise, taking over for Raul Ibanez. Everything else remains the same. Boone Logan is on the mound. He will face Jesus Montero with a 6-1 Yankee lead. And a strike. Count 1-1.
Well, you know, if you're Boone Logan and obviously Russell Martin, Jesus Montero is looking to right field. So to counter that, obviously pitch him in. Sliders and fastballs in off the plate.
It's a breaking ball.
Last thing you want to do is give him something he can drive the other way. He's proven that he can do that very well. Slider in. That's what Russell wants. Down and in.
And he got it. Swing and a miss. Montero jogs to first. The throw to first gets him. So a strikeout, put out 2-3. That is a very young Yankee fan. As he's enjoying the game of style, a little ice cream. More. Even more. Now, I'm not familiar with the youngsters, David. The more you feed them, the quicker they'll sleep. Is that it?
Well, but it's not even down her neck and her mouth's back open.
Once more.
Helps to have a full belly.
Kyle Seager is 0 for 3. Has a modest 3-game hitting streak on the line. This is the second game of 20 in a row without a day off for Seattle. And they are a team that travels a lot. I think their closest game is a 2.5-hour flight away. That's open. So they're on the road the same amount as everybody else, but their trips are long trips. The 2-1. 3-1.
Well, the biggest change I've seen in the travel, Michael, you know, with the advent of the unbalanced schedule where you play more games within your division, what that's created is more time zone jumps. You used to make 2 West Coast swings a year if you were an East Coast team, and vice versa if you're a West Coast team.
There's a base hit, so it's a 4-game hitting streak.
And nowadays, you see time zone jumps or 3 or 4 trips out to the West Coast if you're an East Coast team, and Seattle kind of a victim of that as well.
The trip they're on right now is a 10-day trip. It's New York, Boston, Cleveland, and then Colorado.
They'll hit every time zone before they make it home.
Carp fouls it off. I always joke I love Seattle. I just wish it was closer. It's a great city. I mean, just one of the best cities in this country, but it's such a hike. And their stadium is just state-of-the-art beautiful. Fly ball, right field, backing up Swisher on the track at the wall, and it's off the top of the wall. No, they're saying it's a home run. The umpire, the first base umpire, Scott Barry, making the circular motion with his hand, and he is saying it's a home run for Carp. His second of the game, a 2-run shot. And we'll have to see on a replay if, in fact, it is a home run. Nick Swisher saying it's not. And Joe Girardi, I guess, is going to come out and ask him to take a look. Yes, Mo might tell us. No one touches it and it comes back on the field. That is not a home run. Hitting the top of the wall does not mean it's a home run. And it bounces back, so that's in play, don't you think, Dave?
Oh, absolutely. It sure does, because the padding on the wall will sort of ricochet the ball back into play. And that's just top of the wall right back in. So that should be overturned.
So before you write it in your scorebook, let's wait. 3 umpires will depart. They'll go to the room just to the outfield side of the Seattle dugout. There's a monitor set up there, and they'll take a look at the replays from a couple of angles. This shouldn't take that long because we saw 2 of them, and both of them were fairly clear that it was not a home run. Mike Carp will root against an overturn. One more look.
Clear as day. The ball top of the wall, off the padding, and ricochets right back in. You see the pad sort of dent and spring the ball back into fair territory.
This young lady wanted no part of it, so nobody interfered at all. That guy is upset, hitting the Merrill Lynch Bull. So Girardi waiting patiently. So is Boone Logan. 6-1 game, and boy, that would change in a hurry. It would be 6-3 if that stands up, but I can't imagine it will stand up because the play is indeed under review.
It's under review, and you know, by our estimation, will be overturned. And you know, Michael, it's interesting. You know, a lot of people, when instant replay first came in, it was just going to be on these type of plays. To me, it's just a matter of time before it's expanded. Obviously, this is a big play, and home runs are probably easier to go in and look at for replays. But in my opinion, you're going to see expanded replay before much longer.
Now the question is, they have to use judgment. Would Seager have scored? And that's what umpires don't like about replay, because then they've got to judge, okay, what would happen if that ball was a double? Do we put Seager at third, or do we score him? And that's all going to be decided if they overturn the home run call by the first base umpire, Scott Barry. They're taking way longer than I thought they'd need to take, David, on the replays that we just saw. And maybe they're trying to figure out where Seager goes, but I don't know if they can see that on a replay. So Boone Logan patiently waits.
It looked to me, just watching the base runners, that the third base coach was going to hold up the runner, especially down by 5 runs in the last inning of the game.
Here come the umpires, and they are going to put the runner back at second. And they're going to say 1 run scores, and Carp will be at second. Now Joe Girardi's going to run out and go, what? Why would Seager score? And this is the problem with instant replay, because it becomes a judgment call, and the umpires to say, we think Seager would have scored. So Carp gets a double, he gets an RBI, and it's now 6-2. And in that one moment, David, you see the beauty of instant replay, and you also see the negative aspect of it. Really, another moment is it took a lot longer than it should have. So all the things that people are concerned about with instant replay, it overturns a wrong call, good. Continuation, bad. And time slowing down the game, bad. So a lot of that came into play just with that one call. So it's 6-2 now, and that's going to bring up Justin Smoke. Crowd of 43,954 here at the stadium. We're in the 9th inning, 6-2 Yankees. And Logan deals the smoke. Check swing, did he go? No, said Scott Barrett. That replay process took a little over 4 minutes. And for those new to the replay process, the reason it's 3 umpires have to keep 1 umpire on the field to keep order in case there's order to be kept. So that's why 3 go in and 1 stays on the field.
One cop on the beat, right?
Yep. Count 3-0. Now what's happening right here is this is turning into a save situation. If smoke gets on, then it would be a save situation because the tying run would be on deck. Three and one. Smoke's 1 for 3 today. And Soriano is up and he's ready. Swing and a miss. 3-2.
Taking advantage of the aggressiveness of Smoke here with a 3-1 slider. See if he goes back to the fastball here.
Swing and a miss. Yankees are 1 out away.
He did not. He went back to the slider and for a strike. So Smoke swings through it, but even if he didn't, it's still a strike. And that's when you know you have a good slider, Michael. If you can throw it in the strike zone and still get swings and misses. And Boone Logan's got that kind of a slider. You know, a lot of pitchers can throw their best sliders out of the strike zone or whatever their secondary pitches are. The difference is throwing it in the strike zone and still have it be effective.
Saunders hits one down the right field line, foul. Michael is 0 for 3, fly to center, grounded to first, and struck out. Phil Hughes would get the win. It would be his 3rd. Yankees would take the 2nd game of this series. Try to sweep tomorrow. Good fastball for Logan, 95 miles an hour, and Russell Martin wants to talk.
Back-to-back days for Boone Logan. He was 2/3 of an inning in yesterday's game. 1 hit and a couple of strikeouts. Very durable left-hander.
One. And Seattle down to its final strike. Ball gets away from Martin, but Carp stays right there at second. 2-2 pitch. Now 3-2. Eric Wedge knows he needs base runners. He does not have a great offensive team. Tomorrow it's Andy Pettit against Kevin Millwood. Pettit's first start since 2010. One pitch last year. A lot of excitement about Andy returning. They had to finish this one off first. 3-2, 2 outs. Strike 3, ball game over, and the Yankees win. Yankees won 4 out of 5 games so far on this homestand, taking 2 out of 3 from Tampa Bay, and now the first 2 against Seattle. They've won 3 games in a row. In the 9th, 1 run, 2 hits, and 1 man left. Jesus Montero was 0 for 3 with a walk. Joe Girardi's team picks up its 19th win, and this was the final strike, a breaking ball that nipped the inside corner. And Joe Girardi liked the call, likes the game. Tony Pena, his bench coach, celebrates, and they win this one 6-2. Stick around for the postgame show to find out who's today's Chevy player of the game. Jason Nix with a 2-run home run, getting a rare start at shortstop. Yankees scored 4 runs. Robbie Cano extended his hitting streak to 10 straight. 4 runs in the 2nd inning, and the Mariners never could get back in. We got an award to give out in the post game after that. Stick around.